And away we go. It's the BCJ podcast brought to you by the Holy Grail right here on BearcatJournal.com. Make sure you have it on your calendars now. Get ready. Holy Grail next Saturday, 6:30 kickoff, Bearcats v. Pitt. It will be our first BCJ watch party, official BCJ watch party of the season. So everybody, make your plans now. Make sure you probably want to get down there a little bit early and make sure you are ready as the Bearcats play their first game away from home of the season, taking on the Pitt Panthers at what is its name now, Dave? It's not Heinz Field anymore.
Acrisure or something like that.
We can still call it Heinz Field, right? Like that's what it is.
Yeah, the big mustard bottle or big ketchup bottle or whatever.
The big ketchup bottle in the sky.
You just call it OK Sure.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Where the Steelers play and my response to conference realignment at this point.
Okay, sure. Stanford and Cal to the ACC. Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dave, this is your favorite episode of the year. How are you?
Jacked. I mean, it's like football started. We got football last week, football tomorrow, football Friday, football Saturday, football Sunday, football Monday. Ready to go.
Okay. That's a lot of excitement for you.
A lot of football.
Sorry, I'm getting things up on the social medias. How was the weekend, Dave? How the first brunch of the year go?
Oh, it was wonderful. Jeff, back for another season. Big thanks to all our loyals that were up early to join us. And we had a good time. We talked a little EKU. I got a lot of Jeff's thoughts on kind of like where he sees things as they've moved through the off season. And then we hit a little bit on several conferences, just kind of top line stuff, who we thought was, some conference championship potential teams, playoff potential teams. Talked a little quarterbacking at the highest level. A lot of the perennial favorites have new quarterbacks, and some haven't even announced their quarterback yet. So it's a little bit out of the ordinary, at least in the last few years. So no, it was a good start, and looking forward to having Hayden Moore join us this week to talk some EKU.
Is he going to be in town?
I don't know if he's in town. I mean, he's joining the podcast, but
no, I know. I just didn't know if he was gonna.
I don't know. I don't want to say one way or the other because I don't know.
What's the plan for Monday other than that, or Sunday other than that? Just kind of get a look at everything that happened around the landscape.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of not a bad week, but we've become accustomed to them loading up week one, which then usually means that week two is gutter trash.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's kind of maybe evened itself out a little bit. I mean, there are still good games, and LSU Florida State is clearly the top line game of the week, 2 top 10 teams. But once you get through that, you have Washington, Boise State, North Carolina, South Carolina. There's not really like noon, 3:30, 7 on Saturday, and then a headliner on Sunday night and a headliner on Monday night that we've had kind of the last few years.
Did you see the Pat Forty? Where's he at now?
Sports Illustrated, I believe.
They put out their the sport is going to 40 teams, 2 20-team super conferences, and he had Boise State in there.
I did not see that,
and I immediately just clicked out. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, they're not in one of the conferences there's 60-something teams, but they're going to be in one when there's 40. I mean, whatever. GMAC, I'm very jealous of that. Going to be at the LSU-FSU game at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. Should be a very, very fun game.
They're not playing that at the Bounce House?
No, I don't think that would quite have the seating capacity to accommodate both of those programs.
I thought the Bounce House was the preeminent football facility in Orlando.
I don't believe that to be the case.
Oh boy. And you have a gambling tip for anyone gambling on college football this year.
Yeah, I don't think USC's defense is any good and their offense is awesome. So I would bet a lot of USC overs as they gave up 28 points to San Jose State and, had no trouble scoring on their own. So I think the USC and the over might be a nice weekly play to try to clean up on.
Here's a fun one. What do you think the highest total will be for a USC game?
Well, do they play Washington? I don't know their schedule off the top of my hand. Washington, Oregon, I could see it being well into the 80s.
The over-under being well into the 80s. They play Washington at USC November 4th.
Oh, yeah.
They have Notre Dame, which looks like they can score.
Notre Dame's defense, though, is probably pretty good. I'm looking at, teams
Utah, USC, October 21st.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these are definitely going to be in the 70s. I mean,
yeah.
I believe their over-under for San Jose State was 66. They almost hit that themselves.
Right.
Then they gave up, I think the final was 56-28, so you're in the 80s right there.
USC, Oregon, November 11th.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll
be interesting to see how high they can make that number go where people will still take the over.
Right. All right, let's get to it. It is we're transitioning now. Team Ticker is kind of the sponsor of the first segment going forward. And as the seasons change, the first segment changes. So now it is the game week, the game preview on the BCJ podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Team Ticker. You can see the sea paw there. Aaron's got the Bearcat in the background of his. Team Ticker is a one-of-a-kind sports sign for Bearcat fans. It's a high-tech retro display that provides daily updates of the latest news, stats, schedules, betting odds, and much more. No subscription required. If you're looking for the perfect addition to your man cave, dorm room, or a special gift for that special Bearcats fan, go to teamticker.com and pick up your Team Ticker today. Did you let your wife know that Sparty is now in the mix?
I did not let her know, but I did let our friend who is a Michigan State alum and fan know. So I don't know, maybe he might be buying one.
An order.
I do not know. I'll have to check with him on that.
They have two from Michigan State as well. They have the Sparty, and then they have the M. So make sure you are supporting those that support us. And this is an awesome product. So go to teamticker.com, get your Team Ticker delivered to your front door. They are super fast on delivery. They will get you taken care of. You can have it up and running, I would think, by Saturday. Eastern Kentucky Colonels, Dave. This is one of the better FCS, expected to be one of the better FCS teams this year. Maybe not one of the elite teams, but one of the better FCS.
We'll see. I mean, they were the last team receiving votes in the preseason poll. They got 2 top 25 votes.
And that reason probably being where we will start, and that is they have a very good quarterback.
They do have a very good quarterback. 6th-year quarterback, Parker McKinney, 6'3", 208. Threw for nearly 4,000 yards last year, 68.5% completion percentage, 33 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Also ran for 354 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. I like this for UC in week 1 because as we've seen in the past with some of the FCS opponents, Murray State, some others, they know they're totally outmatched, and so they try to manipulate the game in a way to keep it
slow it down,
close.
Yeah.
I don't think EKU is going to do that offensively, at least. He's your best player. They're going to, what's the point in having your best player just turn around and hand the ball off a ton? So, and I think that's good for UC too, because I don't think they're going to have any problems winning this football game. But like, it's nice to at least see a quarterback back there who, can complete some passes and will challenge you a little bit, and has an offensive line that, is better than just a bunch of 6'2", 270-pound guys, and has some receivers and has a running back. Now, I think their offense will be dramatically different than last year once I dug into it. I mean, they lost their top 2 receivers, one to graduation, one transferred to Iowa State. Those 2 guys combined for over 2,000 yards, or combined for 1,500 yards and 18 touchdowns.
It's a pretty good number.
So those 2 guys are gone. Then they also lost their top 2 tight ends, who combined for 51 catches, 682 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So you got...
Do you think ECU fans complained that they should have used their tight ends more?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, yes, he threw for almost 4,000 yards. Half of that is gone. More than half of that, 75% of that, touchdowns are gone. So where are they replacing this from? They do have a returner, Jaden Smith. He was their 3rd leading receiver, 62 for 750 and 6 touchdowns. So obviously he's probably going to elevate into that receiver 1 role. They brought in Jacob Horn from Northwest Mississippi Community College. He had 47 for 685 and 4 touchdowns last year at the JC level. So he's going to be in that role. And then running back Brandon Sloan is back. He ran for 629, 4.5 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns. But they also used him a lot in the passing game. 42 catches, 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. So those 3 guys are going to be his probably main offensive weapons. But I mean, you lose a guy to Iowa State who transferred, who's one of their starting receivers, and then you lose another guy. Your 2 main wide receivers are gone. So really they lost, as far as a production targets standpoint, they lost 1, 2, 5, and 6. So they bring back 3 and 4, and then add a guy from the JUCO level, and we'll see how that goes. Offensive, they have Josiah Ezram, who's actually from Ohio, from Hilliard. 6'6", 320 right tackle, and then I think they had another offensive lineman that was voted preseason all-conference. So offensively, though, I like that these guys will probably come in. We're going to play our game. Like, we know you got a big defense. We know you got a big front line. Like, we're going to do what we do because we've got a 6th-year guy with a ton of experience. I mean, he's FCS preseason All-American. He's on the Walter Payton watch list, which is the offensive Heisman for the FCS level. So they're going to give him the ball, and they're going to let him go. And I think that's good for UC from a standpoint of going to Pitt next week and then just prepping for quarterbacks that will test them down the field throughout the Big 12 season.
One of the things that kind of stood out to me from the press conference yesterday was the talk that they do a lot of quick game. Like they do not have him just stand back there like a statue. Like they have him get it and get it out pretty quick, which to me at least is what will be interesting against this defense, right? Because the object or the goal of this defense is to get as many guys up the field after the quarterback as possible on every snap. The quarterback's getting it out in 2.5 seconds. There's not much you can do to get to him that doesn't involve just collapsing the middle of the pocket, which is possible. But I think that's going to be a good test defensively for these guys to get in that mindset of, guess what? Teams are probably going to try to do this to us quite a bit. If this is how we want to play, we also have to be ready for teams that want to get the snap, take 2 steps, get it into a receiver's hands.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how much press they see, because that's a lot easier to do if the DBs are sitting 8 yards off the ball. If UC is going to press up on everybody, then run quick game all you want.
Yeah.
Like, and quick game typically is to the inside of the field. So you're going to be funneling it into Deshaun Pace, to threats, to Taj Ward, to the linebackers. Like, I don't imagine they're just going to snap it, turn, and throw like a 20-yard pass.
No, but the point was they don't have him just stand back there waiting 4
right.
seconds.
It's not like seven-step drops and play action and things of that nature. But I think that's a lot harder to do if the DBs are playing press. So we'll see. We'll see how much of that they do. I just think they've had, especially in their league, they've had such an advantage at the wide receiver position. I'm sure teams are like, we just can't, like, we have to keep everything in front of us. So we're going to play off. They're going to run quick game, and we're going to come up and tackle.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to give up, 40-yard plays over our head all day long.
They still give up 4,000 yards to the guy, so it didn't work that great.
No, but I think that's what kind of like looking at the competition that you're playing too. It might not matter.
Right. That's fair.
For that, it will matter against UC.
What's the outlook, the prognosis on their offensive line?
I think it's solid. It's they going through the roster. It's tough to tell who the starters are, but I mean, your right tackle is bigger than our right tackle. He's 6'6", 320, first team all conference guy. Probably has a draftable / free college, undrafted free agent tag coming into the season. First team all conference. And then I guess I don't know what position the other one plays. That I wasn't able to check that out. That was first team all conference selection. But I mean, I think they'll be adequate. I assume they'll be a little bit bigger than like what we saw last year with Kennesaw State, because Kennesaw runs the triple, and you don't really have the 6'5", 310-pound guys in that kind of a blocking scheme. But I mean, they shouldn't. If they're blocking our D line, then we're in much bigger trouble than we anticipated.
Sure, but I mean, there's a difference between like if you're playing a line that's been together for 2 years and like knows what they're doing and knows how to communicate, and
it's tough to get info on the returning starters and how stuff like that.
Okay.
Well, I think it'll be better. Like, it'll be a better offensive line than we're probably used to seeing in this game.
Well, you don't throw for 4,000 yards behind a trash offensive line. That's just not how.
No.
Throwing for 4,000 yards in 12 or 13 games or whatever works.
No, it's not.
Defensively, what have you learned there?
I wouldn't be surprised if we ran for 400 yards.
Not a good run defense.
Well, it was real bad last year, and they lost their 3 best players to the NFL. So
they put 3 NFLers on EKU's defense last year?
Yes. Linebacker Matthew Jackson made the initial 53-man roster for the Titans, and then I believe they had 2 defensive linemen that are on the Titans and Jaguars practice squad.
That's pretty dang good. And if they weren't good with 3 NFL guys.
Yeah, they gave up an average of 220 on the ground. Gardner Webb hit them for 405 and 6 touchdowns in their first round FCS playoff loss. So yeah, I'm not sure that they were probably able to find equal replacements. They did bring in a DB, Frankie West Jr., Illinois State transfer. He was very highly graded in the FCS level on Pro Football Focus last year. He is a first team. I think they're in the A-Sun first team conference, all conference selection. But yeah, this could be a game where UC kind of does what they want on the ground, or at least tries to from the start, and then sees what how that goes. Yeah. It's one thing to have a good offensive line and to be able to pass block against our defensive line if your quarterback is playing quick game and getting the ball out real quick. It's another thing to just have they're definitely going to be more undersized along the defensive line than they are on the offensive line. So it's a whole nother story to withstand that type of punishment down in and down out from UC's offensive line and Corey Kiner and Miles and whoever else carries the ball. So yeah,
maybe a day we see a lot of backs.
Could be if I had to call it right now, I would my it's not, I don't know if to say it's a hot take, but bold prediction for this game is that 2 UC ball carriers, whether it's Emory Jones or the running backs, will rush for over 100 yards.
How many guys do you think surpass, let's say 5 carries?
Emory, Corey, Miles, Monty, Ethan, assuming he's healthy.
He was in a white jersey yesterday, so that's a good sign.
Okay, so I would put the over under at 5.5, and maybe Stephen Bird.
Yeah,
but I would probably take the under because somebody's gonna run the clock out. It's probably gonna be Ethan or Monty, if I had to guess. But yeah, you will see a running back by. I imagine we'll see running back by committee tomorrow or Saturday.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Is I think they'll be pretty loose with the rotations.
Especially if the game is going the way they would probably anticipate it in the second half. Like you're probably only gonna, if they're up 35-7 at some point in the third quarter or something, you're probably not going to see Corey and Miles in the second half.
Especially considering you think those guys are going to carry the ball a lot the following week at Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else you got on EKU? Any fun nuggets? Anything else that you've got in your little notebook there?
They put up a program record 434 points last year.
It's pretty good.
It is pretty. Their quarterback's a dude, man. Like, you don't, if you're not playing the South Dakota States or Wyoming, and Wyoming's FBS, but they used to be FC. But like, if you're not playing the premier teams, you don't typically see a guy this good at the FCS level in his 6th year. Like, I don't know any teams. I guarantee you there were 2 hands worth of legit Power 5 teams that offered this dude a lot of money to come be their quarterback.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
He stayed. Good for him. Like, he is very, very much a draftable guy going into this year. So you do not get that too often at the FBS level outside of, the teams that have been doing it at the highest level for 10, 20 years.
Right.
Or FCS level. Sorry, I said FBS. But no, he's a guy. Like, they're going to have to bring their shit on defense to at least start the game.
Right.
So.
And you're not, and it's a type of guy that if you're up 21-3 or whatever, you can't take your foot off the gas because he can take you down the field twice real quick.
Yeah.
So that makes it at least a little intriguing, hopefully through the first half, because you're going to have to play well.
Yes, I would think so.
Special teams, anything of note?
I do not know.
Well, if they had like a really good punter or like a guy that was, a super accurate kicker.
Nobody that
I'm not asking about their gunners.
Nobody that was called out in anything that I read is like a best
standout
conference type situation.
Okay. What's your do we save the prediction for the preview portion of the show, or do we?
I'll give my prediction. From a score standpoint,
save the score. Just give your general thoughts on what you think will happen.
I think UC will run the ball pretty successfully. I'm not sure how much they'll need to throw. It's not like they're not going to throw, but I don't think this is going to be a situation where they
throw it 45 times,
putting all their attention into really stretching the field and working coverage.
Although, maybe this is a game where they look at it and say, hey, let's get Emory and these wide receivers on the same page and some game action.
I'm sure it'll be balanced, but like if he throws the ball if Emory Jones throws the ball more than 23 times, I'm going to be pretty surprised.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Like oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I could see something like a 15 for 21, 22, whatever, maybe around 200 yards, a couple touchdowns, but I think the damage is going to be done on the ground.
What's the menu? Do we know the outlook for the Simone family tailgate this week?
I do. I actually asked that in preparation of.
You're just super prepared this week, Dave. I love it.
I mean, it's time to go.
Right? We're not winging it anymore.
No, we are having. Well, I only got the main course because we have so many people. I don't know what the other guests are bringing.
Okay.
But we are having Cervati's pretzel sandwiches. Plug for
yum.
Cervati's.
Not the best Cervati's pretzel application, though.
Well, the dip and the beer.
The sliced pretzels with the beer cheese.
I mean, I would have to imagine that might accompany the sandwiches, but
that might be my favorite game day food of all time. Is the Cervati's pretzels with the beer cheese? It is elite. Elite. And you have to be careful because now, like, it's just me. So I will eat an entire bag and an entire thing of dip, just sitting watching games and getting things done.
Oh yeah,
it's not safe for me.
Yeah, we'll have lots of Jello shots.
What's the lots of Cincy Light?
Got stocked up on my Cincy Light. Got some.
Do you have more Cincy Light than UC does?
Not quite, but this season I might drink more than they got.
Whatever the number is, are they underestimating how much Cincy Light is going to sell again?
For all the people listening and that will be listening, if you're into drinking a Cincy Light, I would say find one early and make sure you hit up the Rheingeist vans as well. I know you probably want to grab the can
for the draft,
but you're going to need to get that draft on.
Yeah, I think everybody, Rheingeist, everybody has been. I know they've been blown away by the numbers that this has done. I had somebody tell me that for a segment over the past month, it was the fastest selling beer in America, which is crazy because it's only selling here. But like in terms of how quickly it's going into stores and going out, like I know yesterday Jeff Gentle posted that there was a bunch right around lunch, that there was a bunch at the Clifton Kroger. And I stopped after practice at 5:30 and they were gone. You could see the space in the Rheingeist display where it was supposed to be, and it just didn't exist.
I did need to divert conversation quickly. I just wanted to ask you, is Kelsey watching volleyball night at Nebraska?
I don't know what she's doing. She's supposed to be taking the dog out because he's looking at me and whining, and she's not answering my text messages. So,
do you guys get Big Ten Network?
Yes, but not in her room.
Oh, she's 90,000 people to watch college volleyball.
Volleyball day at Nebraska.
It's really cool. They've had like 4 games, I think 3 or 4 games of. Am I watching it? No, it's all over Twitter. Oh.
She's here.
Oh.
They're at the football stadium playing.
Yeah. 90,000 people watching the volleyball game.
I know, that's crazy.
What if there were 90,000 people at your game today?
They wouldn't have been there long, right, Kelsey?
Yeah, they wouldn't have been there long.
No, they would be like, peace out, biatches.
Thank you for that. I enjoyed
I'm not
that.
staying for this. Not tonight.
Take the dog out, please.
But yeah, so we'll have, everybody's, you're always welcome. Top of Campus Green, come up, grab a beer, grab a Jello shot. Got some Nooners. I found some tall boy Nooners today.
Ooh, nice. It's always positive.
Yeah, so gonna be some. If the weather that we had like today and tomorrow was hitting on Saturday, oh boy, that would have been something else. But
I mean, tonight we walked out of that volleyball game and it was like, ooh, football.
I'm not
what I really want to be doing right now is sitting in my driveway with a fire.
Yeah.
Because it was like the first perfect fire weather that we've had.
Tonight and tomorrow are outstanding. But I'm it's going to be warm, but I'll take it, man. Sunny, no rain, first game of the year, good beer drinking weather. So, but yeah, we'll have plenty for anybody that wants to come out and say hi.
There's Callie. Hi, Callie. Are you going to have some Cincy Lights this weekend, girlfriend? Don't know? Okay. You're not going to be happy with Dad on Saturday when you're in the crate for a long time. All right. I guess that's a good spot to timestamp the Team Ticker weekly preview. The timestamps are brought to you by Turtles Brew. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's bourbon-infused sweet tea, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla. 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati. Visit www.turtlesbrew.com for more information and locations. A portion of the proceeds go to Save the Sea Turtles. They are in Cincinnati, Toledo, and now expanding in Central Ohio. 6% ABV, and they go great. Maybe with a little extra shot of bourbon, a little more gas in the tank with your Turtles Brew.
That's right.
Pretzels and beer cheese dip was just added to the Cervati's order. Thank you, Carrie.
Oh, look at Mom coming through.
Mom coming through in the clutch. Save the damn turtles. That's right, Ed. All right, Dave. This is what everybody's here, what they've been waiting for. The Bearcat Journal season preview.
All right.
We go through every game on the schedule, and we make our predictions for the season. We give a score, and we're
gonna give a score for each game already.
No, I guess we don't have to. We can say
we just do the wins and losses, and I usually save the score for the week of.
All right, I was gonna put more pressure on you, but
I mean, like that would just. But my score for EKU is 48-14, by the way.
48-14. What do you think the line is going to be?
Is there a line for an FCS game?
I think there usually is. I think they don't do them for college basketball, but like lower level. But
do those like come out day of the game? I guess because they're not out yet.
I mean, I don't know. If there was a line, I guess 29.5. I think that's
26 and a half. I mean, I really have no clue how they determine what an FCS, FBS line is.
Right. It might be a little low, just a little lower, just first game of the Satterfield era as Vegas kind of figures out this year.
Yeah.
So 29.5 might be a little high. But I think she went back upstairs.
Yeah. So
So there you go. 1-0. We're both at 1-0. Pitt. At Pitt, 6:30, Acrisure Stadium.
The CW.
Yeah, on the CW. Live on the CW.
Right after One Tree Hill or whatever shows they have on there.
Is Dawson's Creek is that still a thing?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I can't remember the last time I don't know if I've ever.
I didn't watch those shows when they were in. So I certainly don't know what they are now. But Pitt, new quarterback.
Sorry, was the Superman show Smallville or something?
I don't know. I know Kelly used to watch. What was the one with
Charmed Life? I think there was a Charmed Life.
No, just Charmed.
Charmed. Yeah, just Charmed. Yeah. That was one of the shows.
Rotation of super hot chicks from the '90s that they brought in. Alyssa Milano and
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
I think Charmed was always running on like TBS or TNT if you fell asleep watching the NBA.
Okay, that might be on TBS then. I don't know. I know Charmed was on a lot when I got to the hotel or got to the hospital. The hotel. That's how long we were there. I just thought it was a hotel. When I got to the hospital in the mornings, Charmed was always on while Kelly was sleeping. I didn't know if that was the CW or not. But yeah, Smallville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick. And it doesn't have to be quick. We've got a while here. What do you think for the Bearcat Pitt game?
I mean, I think it's on paper, it's a pretty evenly matched game. Pitt has a new quarterback, Phil Dracovic, came over from Boston College. Obviously lost their best offensive player, Israel Bandakanda, lost their best defensive player, Kalijah Cansey. I'm sure their defensive line will still be very good. That's what they've become known for. Pat Narduzzi, defensive coach. They're going to run the ball now that he got his offensive coordinator out of there that passed it too much for his liking. I think their defensive backs are pretty good. MJ Devonshire's a really good corner. He's probably I don't know if he's first team All ACC, but I would imagine he's first, second, or third team like preseason All ACC. So tough game. Probably very similar talent levels. First road game of the year. I think they're playing an FCS team week 1 as well, so nothing you can really probably take away from that. But it's very, very hard for me to pick a team that we know so little about offensively to win road games without seeing them win road games. So I'm going to lean to a loss in this one, probably close. Hopefully close, and maybe they can pull off the upset. But it's hard to just sit here, on the Wednesday before the first game without knowing how this offense is going to look. And I don't even know if we'll get a great idea of what it'll truly look like after week 1. But going on the road, playing that defense will be a much, much different task than playing the EKU defense. So I'm going to have the Bearcats 1-1 after 2 weeks.
I think I agree with you. I don't know. I haven't been big on Pitt in the Narduzzi era, but they've been solid. They haven't been anything, that has jumped up and been spectacular.
Yeah, they had the one really, really good year with Kenny Pickett's last year.
Yeah.
And they went to the New Year's Six game. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's a lot of 7-5s, 8-4s, stuff like that, or probably worse in some of the years.
The question is, do I dial up the Heinz Field magic? It comes back and it encompasses the Bearcats, and they get a surprise win.
Do we have a Marty Gilliard on the roster?
Braden Smith might be. I don't know. Maybe. Braden Smith's a little bit farther into his career than Marty was during his breakout season, but I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go 1-1, and I'm reluctant. I want to pull the trigger on 2-0. So if they do win, I get partial credit because I wanted to pull the trigger. But
sure,
I'm going to go 1-1.
Is that how it works? I get partial credit for like physical fitness because I want to work out sometimes?
Sure. I mean,
even though I never do. So like, I
give yourself credit for whatever you want to give yourself credit for. It's my network. I can give myself credit for whatever I want to give myself credit for. I'll go 1-1.
All right.
Miami of Ohio, Nippert Stadium. This is supposed to be a pretty good Miami team. They have a veteran quarterback, as long as he plays.
As long as he's healthy. I mean, the guy's been hurt nonstop. We have the Miami.
He's running his mouth about playing the U.
We have the Miami versus Miami Bowl this weekend.
Yeah, and Blaine Gabbert is flapping his gums about who the real Miami is.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that happened. Like Monday, when they had their media stuff Monday. Like, we're the real Miami.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Yeah, I think they'll have a pretty good defense. One of the better defenses in the MAC last year. A lot of those guys are back. I'm not sure offensively. If he's healthy, he's one of him and Curtis Rourke at Ohio are probably the two best three best quarterbacks in the MAC. But Mac Hippenhammer was their go-to receiver last year. He's no longer there. They've not really had a lot of success running the ball against UC over the years. I just don't think their defense will be able to keep them in the game that long to cover up for an offense that doesn't probably have the playmakers that they're going to need to challenge the UC's defense. So I think it'll be what is it, 16 in a row? If they win this one, I've lost count.
I think it's 15. I think this would be 16.
16.
Would this tie the series?
I think it would. Well, no, this is how much I don't care about the rivalry. Right. I don't know how many they've won in a row. We only
talk about it for one day.
I don't know how many they've won in a row, and I don't know what this would put the series at. So, I mean, I think UC will win 7:00 game. First, okay, this is a wild stat. Obviously, there was a COVID year involved in there. First regular season Saturday nip at night since 2019.
Wow.
They've had their Friday night or whatever.
It's been forever, right?
Yeah, they've had their Friday night, and they've had their Tulsa, which I don't even know if that. The Houston championship game was a 4 p.m. kickoff, so that's not even a night game. I think the Tulsa game in the COVID year actually ended up being a night game for whatever reason. I remember that.
Last year, Cincinnati took the lead in the series last year, 60-59.
Was that what producer extraordinaire Aaron Smith was coming on to tell us?
The only reason.
Oh.
Yes.
So, if this was up to me, that last year would have been the final year of the game. But
16 in a row, 60-59-7 overall in the 126 meetings total.
So we've won 16 in a row. This would make it 17
since 2006. That was the first of this streak.
All right. I was a year out of UT in 2006.
Think about how long it's been since you've been in college.
And I'm 41 years old. Like, that's how long it's been that they have won this game.
Natalie makes a great point. You don't have to be injured to ride the Miami bench against Cincinnati.
It's true.
You just have to be good.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You have to be one of their better players, and they'll let you ride the bench for the UC game. Kathy's back trying to talk shit. It must be football season.
What's up, girl?
One of Dave's favorite people. Did she visit you on Sunday?
You know what? I don't think so. I don't think Kathy did.
She doesn't love you that much then.
Maybe I've fallen out of favor.
Yeah. She's got to get back in the routine of.
That's true.
That's a show for Kathy. It's Jeff and Dave, and I'm not even.
Right. No,
I'm not even around.
Nowhere to be seen. It must be why we do good numbers.
Probably. Probably. Win. I'll go win.
Yes, win. 2-1.
Oklahoma. Nippert Stadium.
Boomer soon.
Says time to be determined. There are reports that it will be at noon. Might be big noon kickoff. It's going to be how many if they had an unlimited supply of 16-ounce Cincy Lights for the Oklahoma game, how many do you think they would need to have to properly serve their audience?
How many people are at the game? 40,000-ish?
40,000-ish.
40,000 beers.
Cans.
Yeah.
40,000 16-ounce cans.
To properly? That's probably a little high, but,
30.
Yeah, 30.
I would say 30. 30,000 cans, and I think it would be an adequate supply. So if anybody from UC is listening, I would let Ryan guys know you're going to need 30,000 16-ounce cans for the Oklahoma.
I mean, it's Oktoberfest weekend.
Yeah.
Noon
game.
Late September could just be the most beautiful beer drinking weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oklahoma coming to town. They're likely going to be 3-0, well within the top 25. First Big 12 game, big noon kickoff. Fox, The Fox crew came to every location last year for the first time. I don't see that changing this year. So if that's the case, and then we will have, all those guys there, kind of like their game day set. So it will be a party.
Did Ivan Pace play against UC in the 2021 season? Yes, he did. It was a good preview to the staff for what they might be getting, if I recall correctly. 2-2.
Yeah, I just think, I have a lot of questions about OU going into the year. I'm not sure how many of them are going to get answered when they play Butch Jones and Arkansas State, SMU.
That's not going to be a test?
Yeah, SMU, and then what I think will be a dreadful Tulsa team. So it will be their, I don't know what those 3 games are going to tell us. We know about Dylan Gabriel. We'll see if he's playing at that point. He gets hurt quite often. They do have an absolute stud freshman quarterback in Jackson Arnold. That if things don't go great for them, could see him this year. Would not stun me. I've heard things like, last year they looked small getting off the bus, and just weird things that you would not expect to hear about a Oklahoma team. I read this week that Brett Venables said something to the effect of I'm going to be extremely involved in the defense this year. I figured he was extremely involved in it last year. It was awful.
How was he not?
Right. Offensively, they're going to have a good offensive line. They have one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. They're probably going to have some pretty talented backs. I have some questions about their wide receivers. But top to bottom, this is still a roster that has recruited at an extremely high level. And I feel like that would be a tall task for the Bearcats to get a win there.
No Nippert magic. I'll ask you this, and I'm sure we'll talk about it depending on where we're at.
I'm
in
saying dumb
3
things
weeks.
all the time.
Biggest game in Nippert Stadium history?
This one?
Oklahoma?
No.
No?
No, the Houston game was to go to the college football playoff.
Biggest regular season game in Nippert Stadium history. Oklahoma, first game in the Big 12.
Yeah, but if we end up going 4-8, then it's not that big of a game. If they lose 56-10,
Dave, you don't get to look back now. We can look back after the fact.
It might be the biggest, most exciting. I don't know if it has the importance to call it the biggest game, but it might be the most anticipated regular season game.
Okay.
But
use whatever adjective you'd like.
Yeah, maybe. We've been playing a bunch of slappies for the last how many years at home, so none of those games count.
Right.
So, it wasn't like winning a lot of those games, would compare. But yeah, it's a huge game. I'm not trying to say.
Is it bigger than Wisconsin?
They were so bad then.
They were awful, and college football just had a different.
Well, and they didn't have a fan base then.
Yeah.
So there wasn't. It wasn't like there was 40,000 people at Nippert going nuts when they beat Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. That might be the biggest win.
Josh mentions the clinching the Orange Bowl berth. I would put that in there.
It's definitely up there with Pitt.
Yeah.
Is that Pitt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was there as everybody was throwing oranges on the field and did the premature rush and then had to get pushed back. I was standing right.
I was corrected though.
I will tell you, this is the difference between 2008 Chad and 2020 Chad. 2008 Chad was standing there as everybody rushed the field, at the end line of the student section. I wanted to be in it. And when everybody rushed the field for Houston, I was standing underneath the Bearcat layer section, just kind of watching. Because I got too old for this shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was not getting run over. But
I do need to make a correction to what I said earlier. The Oklahoma game is not Oktoberfest weekend. It is my actual job, Kroger Wellness Fest weekend. So I will be one tired dude. A noon game does not suit me well for that weekend, as I will be working very early in the morning to very late at night in the days leading up to the Oklahoma game.
The Rutgers win was definitely up there, Natalie. That was kind of the Cincinnati arrived moment.
Right.
That was definitely it was Wisconsin. Nobody's played a huge game against Illinois in the history of football.
I don't know. They beat Ohio State. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Do you think Ohio State cared?
They beat Illinois. They beat Illinois at the last game of the year, Tony Pike's year.
Yeah. But that didn't clinch the Orange Bowl, I don't think, really. I mean, I guess technically if you lost it, whatever. I get what you're saying. But Rutgers was definitely up there too. Louisville, the Teddy Bridgewater game, that was a heartbreaker. 2 different times that he should have been sacked and spun out of it, flung the ball to the end zone.
I mean, it's a huge game. I mean, you get Oklahoma in your first Big 12 game at home. Like, yes, massive
kickoff.
Massive experience, for everybody. So, yeah, for sure. But not sure the Bearcats have what it takes in that one.
This one, you know what, Dave? Actually, I'm going to do our first go out on a limb.
Okay.
Nippert Magic, they beat Oklahoma.
Okay.
It's Dylan Gabriel. I'm fucking scared of Dylan Gabriel.
I'm not scared of Dylan Gabriel.
I'll take Cincinnati over Oklahoma. I got them 3-1. You got them 2-2.
BYU, I think almost have them 4-0.
I know.
Are you doing the reverse me? Gunners senior year?
Well, it gets a lot more choppy here. This section gets a lot more choppy.
Yeah.
BYU Friday night in Provo after the Oklahoma game. That's gonna be damn near impossible.
Yeah, I mean, you're on a short week. You're traveling to your farthest road trip. You are playing at altitude. You're playing a team that does have to replace a starting quarterback. They brought in Keaton Slovis from Pitt. Their defense was really, 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 really bad last year. They've made some staff changes there that they're excited about. We all know they've got they'll have an older team. They have if not, not counting Oklahoma and Texas, they might have the biggest stadium in the league, and it'll be full and rowdy, and it's 7:15 local time or 8:15 local time, whatever they are. It's a lot. If they went in there and won, that would be a hell of a damn win. But
yeah,
I'm gonna have a loss there, and we are 2-3 heading into the off week.
I've got 3-2. Bye week.
All right. Then
I'm going to take the Bearcats.
Yes, I hope no one. I hope they can withstand the onslaught from bye week. Iowa State.
Iowa State, October 14th, Nippert Stadium. They're kind of down bad right now.
Homecoming. They've got a lot. I don't even think we know 100% the ramifications and how deep the whole gambling scandal goes. I know Hunter Decker is the starting quarterback. It appears he's done, but for the his career season, whatever. But I don't know if that's been officially official. I do know their starting running back from last year, who was going to be the starting running back for this year, has left the team. Their starting tight end has left the team. They're starting, I think he's a defensive tackle. Probably their best returning defensive lineman has left the team. They were already without Will McDonald, defensive end, who got drafted in the first round by the Jets. They have a really, really good secondary. TJ Tampa is an excellent corner. But, like, I don't know how they're going to score. Like, is a true freshman might be their quarterback. They also play in the 3 weeks before UC. They play Oklahoma State, at Oklahoma, and TCU. So, like, they're getting no breaks leading into this game. So I think the Bearcats will win this game.
I've got the Bearcats as well. That has me at 4-2, and you at 3-3.
Yes.
Baylor
At
Saturday,
home.
October 21st at home.
They have a bye before they play UC, so that is obviously something that is potentially to their advantage. I think them and Oklahoma State are kind of the two teams that no one's talking about winning, like being in the championship. And I'm not saying that I disagree with that, but I think both of those teams will be better this year than what
They both lost a bunch of close games last year after being in the conference title game the year before.
Yeah, like Oklahoma State last year was just kind of train went off the tracks at the end of the year and they lost a bunch of games in a row. Baylor just had a weird season. They, lost the game in overtime, I think, at BYU, but then, beat some of the better teams in the conference. I think they'll rebound this year. I think from top to bottom, they've been recruiting at a really high level. And Dave Aranda, I think, is a really good defensive coach. I think he did a lot of self-scouting, a lot of self-coaching in the offseason. Sounds like when he talked, especially at Big 12 Media Days, kind of some introspective stuff. So I think
he's a really good coach.
I think their program is probably in a better overall place going into this season. And so I have them winning and UC falling to 3-4.
I've got Baylor winning as well. I think it'll be close. I think Baylor squeezes one out in Nippert, and I have the Bearcats now at 4-3. First road trip against a traditional Big 12 school, with the Hateful Eight, as they are known, comes up next, Saturday, October 28th in Stillwater, Boone Pickens Stadium. I think they're going to be pretty good.
They are one that, based on their schedule, and if Alan Bowman, quarterback transfer, he was at Texas Tech, actually started at Texas Tech, then transferred to Michigan, didn't play at Michigan really, and now is transferred to Oklahoma State. If he can stay healthy, I think they can have an 8-4, 9-3 type season. Their non-conference is Central Arkansas, Arizona State, South Alabama. They play UC, Houston, BYU, Central Florida, so they get all the newcomers. They, have Kansas, West Virginia. But that's one that, like, I just don't like. I didn't really care like what Oklahoma State was projected or what anybody else was saying about him. Like, going in there for the first time, I just felt like that was not a great situation, and didn't think that was one that UC would probably come out successful in.
Right. I think you're probably right. I just think that's going to be a very hostile environment. When I look at teams that I think that could rise consistently to the top of the standings in the league, in the new league, once, Texahoma is gone, I think Oklahoma State is one of those. I think he's nuts, but I think Gundy is a really good coach. Probably, would I be crazy for thinking he's the best coach in the league? And they've been successful for a long time. They don't do it with high
I would probably
talent.
Him and Chris Kleiman at Kansas State. I mean, he's got quite a track record at San Diego or at South Dakota State of national titles, and then he's come into Kansas State and kind of, kept that program where they're used to being with Bill Snyder and everything. So those two. I mean, what Matt Campbell's done at Iowa State's damn near remarkable, but
he's 5-loss Matt. Like they still lose 5 games a year.
Yeah, but that's still insane. I mean, for what that program has been historically. But yes, I would say Gundy and Kleiman for sure.
All right, we're 8 games in. I have the Bearcats at 4-4. You have them at 3-5. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
This 4-game stretch to end the season is fascinating, Dave.
It is, and I've kind of like played around with it a couple. I get the same result, but I kind of like play around with it in my head, like how I think it's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean it's fascinating because there's a lot of people on the UCF hype train.
There are. I think it's overcrowded.
I do too.
I think they will be good, but I think groupthink is kind of like taking it as like who's going to be the
we
best.
have a new power in Florida.
Well, who's going to be the best new team in the Big 12? And I think it will be them, but they've kind of taken it and been like, and pushed that to even like, could they challenge to go to the Big 12 championship game? I'm like, let's slow down a little bit, guys. Like,
they didn't win a very average American last year.
No, I'm just not a huge, like, from a purely football standpoint. Like, I'm just not a big Gus Malzahn guy.
I'm not either, but you also weren't a big Josh Heupel guy, and now you're the president of his fan club.
Yeah, things happen.
Things happen. That's a great way to put it. All right. UCF, Nippert Stadium, Saturday, November 4th. A chance that it's cold.
Could be.
That's usually right about when the weather is starting to flip. Usually Indian summer is over by that point.
I mean, if it's 50 degrees and it happens to be like a 3:30 or a night game, I mean, they're definitely going to have the seat heaters out.
Oh, yeah. There's also just a part of me that I can't say UCF wins a game against UC. Or I think they're not that far apart in talent.
And here's where I had my dilemma is I have UC winning. And I don't know if it's as much I have UC winning because I think they're better, or I have UC winning because if I had UC losing, that means I have them losing 3 in a row and then winning 3 in a row, which I feel like that is hard to wrap my head around.
Right.
Like you lose 3 in a row, you're on that type of a slide, everything that comes along with it, the pressure of we need to win 3 in a row to go to a bowl game, and then 2 of those are on the road. And yes, they're Houston and West Virginia, but road is the road is the road. And if you're bad enough to be 3-6 going into the last 3 games, then you're bad enough to lose on the road to Houston and West Virginia. So I have them beating UCF. I'm not 100% sure I truly believe it, but, there's nothing on the line for me here, so go Bearcats.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't care. Maybe I'll have a different take on the game when the game gets here in November. Yeah. But Central Florida, in the cold, at Nippert Stadium, I'm picking UC.
Yeah.
So I've got 5-4. You've got 4-5.
Yes.
Next game up. Another fascinating game.
Yeah.
Houston, November 11th in Houston. I don't know.
Houston.
I don't know about this one.
They're 3 games before they play UC.
Yeah.
Texas, at Kansas State, at Baylor.
Yeah.
I don't love that for them.
Is there a chance that game has Dana on a seat that is toasty?
I mean, they would have to, looking at their schedule, they would have had to lose all 3 of those. No, unless they lose the UTSA week 1, lose the TCU week 3, lose the Texas Tech week 5, and then they beat. Their wins are Rice, Sam Houston State, and West Virginia. So they'd be 3-3. Then they'd lose those 3 games, and they'd be 3-6. So they'd be in kind of like the same situation. Could be.
If they lose to UC, they like if UC's their 4th loss in a row.
Oh, then yes.
3-7.
Yes, probably. But yeah.
Are they any good? Right.
I don't
They had a
know.
ton of turnover again, right?
I mean, you're replacing Clayton Tune, Alton McCaskill, who didn't play last year because he got hurt, but I mean would have been their, 1,000-yardish type running back, and Tank Dell.
Who's their quarterback?
What is his name? His last name Smith, transferred from Texas Tech, big dude, like 6'5", 240. Donovan Smith. I mean, he's a player, and I think they've got a couple of young receivers that I'm not sure if they're going to replicate Tank Dell, but they're pretty good. Their defense has been a mess for the last.
So you're questionable on offense, and your defense stinks.
So
I'm taking the Bearcats.
I mean, I am as well. I think the 3 games leading up to that's a lot to do, and if they lose all 3 of those, you're in like a circle the wagons. Are we going to give in on the rest of the year? Are we going to try to beat, UC, Oklahoma State, and UCF to make a bowl game?
I think that's going to be real interesting because I think the heat is going to turn up down there because they can't, like, optically, with their place as it is in that market already, if you're last or like real close to last.
The thing is, though,
season,
like, we make the joke about Mr. Spinach Frittata, but like Tillman Fertitta, his work is done. They got him the Big 12.
Yeah.
And he now owns the Rockets, which he didn't own before. I think he's got some bigger things to worry about. So, like, if his buddy
still spent a shit ton of money at Houston.
Yeah, but to get them into the Big, hiring Dana was to get them in the Big 12. Maybe he's like, I hired him, we got in, I don't care, like, fire him, whatever. Or he just says like, hey, that's my buddy, like, we're not firing him. I don't know. I mean, how do those 3 games go? Do they get blown the fuck out in the 3 games going into, like, that's to me is so much about this season for UC too. Is like, if you're 5-7, but you lost 3 of those games, in the last minute, or and they're against the quote unquote better teams, and you were in it to the end and you just lost, or you 4-8 and 5-7 and 4 of your losses you weren't competitive in. Like, it's a lot of how it looks to me this year again versus like what is the actual number on each side of the ledger.
Another fascinating game. West Virginia, November 18th, Morgantown, Milan Pusker Stadium.
They are at OU before UC. So I have to take that into account. This is where I was like, okay, so if I have them beating UCF, do I really have them closing the year with 4 wins in a row? So I have them losing this game, actually.
I think I'm there with you. I think that's going to be one of those rally the troop games for West Virginia. I don't think the season is going to go well. You're potentially in a spot where they have fired their head coach.
It's senior day. Like,
Cincinnati's kind of maybe feeling good about themselves after wins over UCF and Houston.
I'm not going to call it a rivalry, but it's like a familiar foe. I mean, Neil Brown might be fired way before this game. Like,
right.
They're doing him no favors playing Penn State and Pitt in the non-conference.
Yeah.
So, if things go real bad, he could have been gone. Now, an interesting thing, we know that university dollars and athletic department dollars are not one and the same. But like WVU has had some stuff happen and they're up against it financially. So is it the best move when your university is in that type of a situation for your athletic department to eat like a $20 million buyout?
Buyout, right. Or do you just go to the gas station guy and say, look,
well, Jim Justice he's the governor. He's not giving him any money. He gave Marshall like $45 million this year and didn't give West Virginia
but
anything.
they got the dude that was funding everything, funding NIL for Hugs, that owns all the gas stations in West Virginia.
Like, what are they, Sheets or something? Or?
No, it's different.
I don't know. But I mean, if he was doing everything for Hugs, well, Hugs ain't there anymore. Is he going to be giving a bunch of money to Neil Brown to keep,
right?
I don't know. It's it'll be an interesting one, but I just have a weird feeling about that game.
I do too. I think that's the one that like we're all looking at and just chalking up a win.
Yeah.
And I worry about that. Like, that's okay when it's ECU on Black Friday in Greenville, because you're just so much more talented than them. West Virginia has struggled, but it's still a pretty talented roster. And who knows what's going on there, like, at that point in time. It's a wounded animal game. It's roadkill. Mm-hmm. And then the roadkill gets back up.
Yeah, it's like the dead cat bounce. Do you know, if they fired Neil Brown several weeks before that, if they do make that move, you're not catching him the week after where there's like turmoil. You get like the dead cat bounce, because a lot of places they don't want to, they want to fire the guy immediately, like the first sign that they should fire him, because they don't want to take the chance that they rattle off like 3 unexpected wins in a row and it makes it, a lot harder to make a move or something.
And they want to get into the coaching market.
Right. So, but it wouldn't surprise, like all these things that are kind of floating around in the periphery that don't really have anything to do with him and the team could have a lot to do with whether they feel comfortable making a move like that.
Right. So I think we're both going to go loss here. I'm at 6-5. You're at 5-6. Is that where we're at?
Mm-hmm.
This is another game that I think people just chalk up as a win. Kansas, Senior Day, November 25th, Nippert Stadium. They can be pretty good. I like their coach. I love their quarterback.
Jalen Daniels is awesome. Lance Leipold runs a very, very similar offense to Tulane, kind of like your shotgun triple spread, a lot of motion, a lot of movement, really good running back. Receivers are okay. Defense last year was a disaster. So how much better, if any, is the defense this year? And does Jalen Daniels make it to week 12?
Yeah.
Because he's 6 foot. I can't imagine he's more than 200 pounds. He runs. So where is he? And then the other thing is they play Texas Tech. And then because this is not like, this is the last game of the year, which is weird that you're not playing your biggest rival the last game of the year, they have the Kansas State game the week before.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So how much juice is spent there? If they're trying to make a bowl game and they knock off Texas Tech to make the bowl game, is there I'm sure there's not going to be a letdown when you're playing your biggest rival, but like, what if the Kansas State game, they win that game and that gets them to 6 wins? Like, how much excitement are they going to have to come to UC on 2 days after Thanksgiving? So I think there's a lot in UC's favor in this game. So I'm going to take the Bearcats to win, finish the year 6-6, and play in a significantly better bowl game at 6-6 than they would have going 9-3 or 10-2 in the America.
I'm also going to take a win. I've been trying to find a way to talk myself into 7 wins on this season.
Well, you just
and I've
did.
done it. I've done it. The
Congratulations.
swing game, no pressure. The swing game is Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one game we differed, right? I think we were in lockstep except for Oklahoma.
I think so.
So yeah, 7-5, and a really good bowl game. 7-5 in the Big 12.
I get you like Florida, Texas, or Arizona, baby.
Right, like you're enjoying your bowl trip at 7-5.
Goodbye, Annapolis. Hello, Tampa.
There was nothing more comfortable than
Fenway Bowl, baby.
Than December 31st game in Annapolis.
Birmingham.
I mean, at least Birmingham, like there's like a Buc-ee's. We went to Annapolis. We took our daughter to DC, and she's like, I don't want to do anything. Great. Awesome. Fun day in DC. Like the most fun we had that day is we found a ping pong club, and we went downstairs and bought like a ping pong table for 2 hours. And Kelly and Kelsey played ping pong. That was our fun.
That's
in DC.
exciting.
Yeah. Like I'll get a ping pong table for the house for the same price that we just paid to spend 2 hours here eating lunch and playing ping pong. Son of a bitch. All right, there we go. So I have 7-5. Dave has 6-6. Do you agree? Disagree? Let us know.
Either way, keep it to yourself.
Don't let us know. Dave doesn't want to hear it. He's not interested in your opinion. Are you more confident in this or the year you picked Cincinnati to go 12-0 and they went 4-8?
No, they went 6-6 that year.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
6-6.
Somehow I'm more confident in this. I mean, shit, we got off to a great start. They scored like 100 points against Toledo.
Yeah.
But no, it's I'm very excited. Watch some hopefully some good football. I think there's I think as the summer has gone on, we've talked about it that not necessarily raising expectations. Like what I've seen over the summer and especially over the last several weeks didn't make me go from like really change the number of wins. I mean, I've always been in the 5.
I've bumped it up 1 for me.
I've always been in the 5-7, 6-6 range. I've never really been able to sell myself on 7 wins, but I just have like a better overall feeling of the roster and ways that they can be successful. And some of these games are, could possibly still result in losses, but be, probably far more competitive than we thought, 4 months ago.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess that brings us to I don't know. We got to talk about home field apparel, so we have to come up with one other segment, Dave.
Okay.
Hold on. They sent out a new one. I got to pull up the new one. Home Field's Can't Miss Kickoff is here to make sure you are ready for the 2023 football season in style. It begins 8/21 with exclusive long-awaited bomber jackets. We haven't seen Cincinnati yet. Maybe we do. Hopefully we do. They're supporting a pretty cool thing today, which we talked about was the Nebraska Volleyball Day. They're all in on that. So even if it's not UC, they're pumping out some great stuff, some stuff that maybe you don't realize you wanted until you see it live and you're like, oh, man, that's a shirt I need to get. But they do have an awesome Cincinnati collection, and you can get all of your game day gear from Home Field Apparel. Just enter code BCJ23, and you get 15% off on your first purchase at homefieldapparel.com. We talk about it constantly. They have super soft, comfortable clothes, and as we get into the winter, the jogger, the hoodies, the quarter zip, the crew necks, They just have great gear to rep UC at the game. So there you go. That is home field apparel, 15% off when you enter code BCJ23. That is also a timestamp brought to you by. There's so much. Like, I have to go back through this constantly. There's too many sponsors, Dave. Brought to you by Turtles Brew. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, bourbon-infused sweet tea, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla. 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati. Visit turtlesbrew.com for more information and locations. 6% ABV. A portion of the proceeds go to Save the Sea Turtles, and they are located in Cincinnati, Toledo, and expanding now in Central Ohio. I do all these reads so that you guys can have Keegan. That's why I did this. I just want you to know. I'm here for you. We're a network of the people. Dave, anything else you got? I do think hopefully tomorrow I can nail down that final information on a potential official visitor for the 2024 class for basketball. It is a big one, so I would be excited about that. If they can, if everything falls into place. I know that's the hardest part about these official visit weeks is people think like, okay, well, these things are just planned well in advance. No, actually, it's usually going into Thursday and sometimes Friday to figure out who's coming and who's not. Hopefully should have a list of football visitors coming to you tomorrow, the basketball potential official visitor, and then some other unofficial visitors, some younger guys that Cincinnati is maybe bringing in for basketball as well. So I am tracking those things. Here's what people have to understand and bear with us. You just want to be right. Like if you put a list out on Tuesday and that list changes 4 times between Tuesday and Thursday, and you're circling back and, well, not this guy, but this guy's added, and it doesn't do any good for anybody.
No, you just put it out one time when you feel like it's as accurate as it's going to be, and then you don't have to worry about it.
So those things are being worked on. If you feel the need to ask me on a Monday or Tuesday what the visitor list for that week is going to be, I'm going to have the same answer every time. Get back to me on Thursday or Friday, and I'll let you know. White jerseys on Saturday, Matt? I don't know. They haven't released the uniforms.
I assume so.
It's a whiteout, so I would think white jerseys.
Which I will not be participating in. But
what are you going to have on, red or black?
Black.
Okay. In the sun. It's going to be 90 degrees.
I wear black every game unless it's a red game because I don't own a white T-shirt because I don't like them.
Do you want? I can have Galati bring you a white T-shirt.
No, I don't like them.
Okay, you're anti-stormtrooper.
No, I like the uniforms very much, but
okay,
I don't need to wear them.
Wear it. Okay.
No,
I got you. I feel you, Dave. I feel you.
No.
Anything else you got? Any other? What do you think about potentially Stanford and Cal and SMU to the ACC?
Sure.
Why
Okay.
not?
Whatever. Yeah.
Actually, whatever.
No, yeah. GMAC just goes shirtless. Yeah. Nobody wants to see that.
He would get removed immediately, GMAC.
Yeah.
Are you? What's the word on confetti cannons? Are we trying again this year? Or are you done?
No, I don't think so because I got closed off.
Got you one time.
Well, they got me halfway through last year, and now they have even tighter security measures, I believe now. So, yeah,
put in place to keep you from bringing in a confetti cannon.
I guess. And I'm not searching and buying confetti cannons, trying to find out what they use to cover this hole where all the confetti shoots out, because I think the foil is what ended up. They must have messed with the right. They must have messed with the dials on the machines because I was getting them in no problem, and they must have turned up like how sensitive they are because then then I think the foil started tripping them.
All right, that's fair.
After a woman brought a gun into the Chicago White Sox stadium,
what-
I think everyone's going to be tightening down their security.
Did you hear how she smuggled that gun in?
I did, and I'm not even trying to get
We're
into
not gonna.
that.
I did as well. We're not gonna mention it. Just
She
tweet.
shoot herself?
She did.
Yeah.
But, just Google that or tweet search that one.
There's some places you can't ask a guy making $12 an hour patting people down to search.
Right.
It's just, that's no, I'm not looking there. If that's where it is, I'm not looking.
And it's not where some of your demented heads went either.
Right.
You
right.
sickos.
Still,
Get your heads out of the gutters.
dirty fucks.
Ugh.
I'm still not looking in the place that it was either.
No.
I'm not checking. That's nah, fam. All right. Well, there is your season preview show extravaganza. Dave has the Bearcats 6-6. I am as always, I am the optimistic one. I'm the glass half full guy.
Mm-hmm.
7-5.
For sure.
Look, I just think the talent level is better than was expected.
I don't disagree.
So I decided to find myself a way to get to 7-5. I don't care how they do it; just make me look good. That's all I'm saying. I think 6-6 is probably the most likely. Like I didn't really believe that Oklahoma pick, but sometimes you just have to put your faith in the magic of Nippert Stadium.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, I'm speaking the Oklahoma win into existence. That kind of stuns the college football world because everybody just looked at Cincinnati and said, "Oh, their time has passed," and they are at the bottom of the hill on their roller coaster ride that is the last 20 years. I don't believe it. I'm going 7-5. I also have some belief in the fact that Scott Satterfield's first year at Louisville, they won 9 games.
Didn't they?
Yeah. They were all in on Satterfield after year 1, remember? And then the South Carolina thing came out.
Then after year 2, he tried to get the South Carolina job.
No, it was after year 1.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah. And then they were riding high off 9 wins. Like, man, this guy's pretty good. How about that? Maybe we dodged a bullet not hiring Jeff Brom. And then the bottom fell out after that. But he did win 9 his first year at Louisville. So I'm gonna go with his ability to rally the troops in year 1. And I'm gonna go 7.
I'm looking forward to watching him how he coaches as well, because he's a very like laid back and seems like a very like easygoing guy. But I've noticed in some of the stuff I've seen with Louisville, especially last year, like game day though, like on the sideline, he gets after it.
He's been pretty intense. I've seen him get after it in practice some. So like he normally is pretty reserved, but if there's something going on that has him fired up, he does not hold back from getting fired up. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. What time are you getting there? You think noonish?
I think I'll be there a little bit before that.
I might be having to cut it close. I don't know who's going to come over and let out my dogs at some point in time during the day.
Where's your kid going to be?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Just tell her to stay home.
She's 13. You think I'm going to leave her home alone for like 8 hours, 9 hours? House will be burned down, Dave.
Okay.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not.
Have some friends come over then.
Oh yeah, have a party while Dad's gone. Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. Yeah. Awesome. All right. That's going to wrap it up. He's Dave Simone. I'm Chad Brendel. That is the season preview show. We'll see you next week as we wrap up. Put a bow on ECU or EKU. I think I said that a couple times. Whatever. Put put a bow on EKU and get ready for the trip to Pittsburgh. Thanks to the Holy Grail. Thanks to Team Ticker, Turtles Brew, Home Field Apparel. We'll see you next time right here on BearcatJournal.com.